This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.
It's the final round of the WAFLW season. We're down at Revo Fitness Stadium, Claremont Oval. The Tigers hosting Peel Thunder. A massive game for Claremont. They need to win today to finish third on the table. And if they can do that, they will host Subiaco in the first semi-final next week. A loss to the Tigers today against Peel, and they'll have to travel to Leederville for the elimination first semi-final next week. Peel know that they're into the second semi. They'll take on Swans no matter what happens today. But it's a bigger day here for Claremont at home. You can see them in their Indigenous uniforms here today. Peel also wearing their Indigenous strip as the teams come together to celebrate Reconciliation Week and the upcoming NAIDOC round as well, a few weeks away in the WAFL men's competition. There's the Thunder. They knocked off Swans last week, Swans' first defeat of the season. So the Thunder are in good touch, just fine-tuning before the final starting next week for them as they look to defend their premiership in the next few weeks here in the WAFLW season. Dave Lindsay with you in commentary. We'll have Clint Degebrot join us shortly. Massive game for Claremont in particular. It's Claremont hosting Peel Thunder, final round of WAFLW here on Front Row Screens.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Rule 1. No internet searching.
New Optus Pause puts the Optus Living Network in your hands. It allows you to pause your Optus mobile and home Wi-Fi connections with one touch. Because sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
What can be broken but can't be held?
It starts with yes.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Perfect day for footy here at Claremont Oval, Revo Fitness Stadium. Peel Thunder in a huddle as they're preparing for their final game of the qualifying season before finals start next week. They know that they're taking on Swan Districts. The Tigers, well, they'll take on Subiaco. But uncertain as to whether they're hosting or travelling in the first semi-final. That all depends on today's result. Dave Lindsay alongside Clint Degebrot. Welcome, Deggers. Is the Tigers.
Yeah, nice team in for the Tigers. Betty Scanlon looks like she's taking the middle with Sophie McDonald as well. So Kate Orm in, Mika Carter up front. It should be really interesting for Claremont today. They've got a strong side in, so looking for a strong showing. Husband returns in the ruck as well. It's lots of speed in the Claremont lineup.
Been disappointing lately, Claremont. They've lost 5 of their last 6. They lose today. It's a 7-8 record for them. Peel Thunder, on the other hand, fine-tuning for this game with a win against Swan Districts last week. You mentioned Claremont looks strong. Well, the Thunder are missing 1 or 2, but it's still a very good lineup they've got in front of us here today. Quite
remarkable how deep they are, because sitting in the box next to us is Briggsy and also Rowley, and down there is Sarah Veria in the Silks. still managing to be very strong across the ground, Peel. So lots of good work done down there by many people, but Steve Markham in particular, blooding players left, right and centre over the last 2 years.
Aisha Wright there wearing 24 for Peel. Looking forward to see what she can bring out here this afternoon. Had a pretty good carnival with the State 19s team. It looks as though there's going to be a circle formed, Indigenous, normally the barefoot circle we saw in the cricket season. They won't be barefoot today, a couple of minutes away from bounce down as Peel take their positions around the circle. Claremont just about to break from their huddle and they'll come and join the umpires and the Peel players in the circle as well, celebrating the Indigenous round.
See Steve Markham and Andrew Di Loretto just shaking hands. The league, or head coaches of both these league sides, to join their circle. Good thinkers and good people, both the head coaches of these footy clubs.
Mentioned a lot through the WAFLW season. The girls and the coaches know each other so well. There's a lot of smiles as they come in and stand in between each other. One Tiger, one Thunder player, arm in arm as well. And very familiar with each other as the circle just closes in a little bit as well. You mentioned Jade Briggs and Courtney Rowley sitting in the box next to us, taking stats, they told me. And Briggs said, I'm looking forward to this. Get to be involved, which is good.
A big smile on her face as usual.
Always.
Jade Briggs.
But the two of them probably unlikely to play finals for Peel, which is a real shame. Both very talented footballers.
Demi Little's joined the box in there too. So another big in potentially next week with Little joining the back five of the Peel Thunder, who were so good. The back five last year in the grand final included Little and, of course, many of the players that are out there today for the Thunder.
And there's the circle you can see out there in the middle of Claremont Oval here at Revo Fitness Stadium, as it's known now. Looks a very different Claremont Oval to the one that I used to come to as a kid, Degs, with the grass banks no longer in play for most of the ground. The apartments built all around the place, and it's probably the future of the WAFL venues in a lot of the areas around Perth.
I think it's fantastic. The idea of being able to sort of stroll out to your balcony on an afternoon and watch a game of footy of the numerous different competitions that play here. Some people say, oh, what about the whistle and the sirens? Well, that'd just be fantastic, I reckon, all weekend, just to hear the footy siren, the famous footy horns, particularly in the WAFL. Love the way they're sort of similar to an air raid siren, and I'd be very happy to be hearing that on a weekend.
A little off topic, just working as I do for Netball WA, we just recently got a complaint from a resident who lives in a house that was built a few years ago, right alongside the Netball Centre, which has been there for 100 years, complaining about the amount of people that were at the carnival last week.
Well, it's just no good to participate in the community.
No,
we need to complain about that as much as possible. It reminds me of the old days at Subiaco Oval with the telephone tree. Buy a house in Subiaco and then complain that the lights are on a Saturday night. There is no pleasing. That'd be interesting to see. There'd be some complaints from here saying, can you stop blow the whistle a little quieter? Having bought an apartment that's increased in value because it's on a football oval. Anyway, stop talking about that. We've got a game of footy in front of us.
The benches have come across, so teams are ready to go now. Round 15, as I say, a massive game, particularly for Claremont. This is an opportunity for Peel just to get themselves ready for finals action next week. But for the Tigers, a win today and they get to host the first semi-final against Subiaco next week. A loss and they have to travel to Leederville Oval. And Subiaco have been just about the form team of the competition now that Swans had a defeat last week. So a tough game for Claremont coming next week. Swans will take Peel on.
Jono Antonio.
He's going to get us underway. The opening bounce, Claremont ruck was a little bit slow to react to that one, allowing Quaife to win it easily, but came back there to husband. Crashing through Jess Lowe, couldn't take the football with her. Good hand pass to the outside player in Orme, who then puts on the outside of the boot, out in front of Franklin. Has Anderson trying to cover her. Anderson off the deck towards the boundary, at least away from Franklin initially. Dowson dispossessed in a tackle. And Jono gets involved with the whistle early, as he should. That's holding the ball. So Franklin will get the free kick wide out at left half forward for the Tigers. Wants to load up and kick to the top of the goal square. Goodwin Wissink is deep. Demanis is down there as well. She's a goal kicker in this season. Beth Schilling gets the clearance for the Thunder. Good clearing kick. Quaife was the target. Lowe comes through the traffic again. Gets a hand pass away this time. Franklin being watched closely by Dowson. And this time the umpire will come in and ball it up after a minute of play here at Tigerland. Fantastic conditions. Not much breeze to speak of as well. And barely a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, well, to play on this side of the ground here, the right footers, or the left footers for the Tigers getting to this spot. This Gracie Fender picks it up, shrugs the tackle. Handball's a little indiscriminate, but she knew that Bilsich was in the vicinity. She's good enough to connect with Aisha Wright, who spills what she should have taken in the end. And the tackle is good, dispossesses her opponent. She tried to clear the area. She in turn is wrapped up by Lowe. All bouncing around now. Going in Peel's direction again. This is Bartlett. Feeds her runner beautifully. Is able to chop this just in. Intercept's okay by McDonald. Just put it at her own feet. Goes back and wins her own ball again. Outside to Orm. Plays the wide winger very well. Going forward, this is in the hands of Scanlon. Kicks towards the corridor. First there's Baxter. Baxter has to be quick under fierce pressure. The hands from Smith is very good. Opens it up for White. White's got Amber Goodwin Wissink in the square. Shillings with her. The kick's a good one. Amber tries to step inside. Goodwin Wissink, that is. A tackle. Second tackle comes. This time she's dispossessed, and it was hunted quite quickly by Abby Barnden.
Good support from Barnden there. I think everyone around the place knew that Goodwin Wissink wanted to get back onto the left side, but she managed to get around Schilling. Here's Bartlett, leading goal kicker this year. It's it off to Baxter. Quick kick in the Roberts direction. McDonald used the body against her. Roberts just throws herself at the football. Love her attack on the footy, and she'll hold this one up for a ball up on the wing. Ball gets handed back to the umpire. See the ruck's preparing. Husband. There's Quaif, who's happy to stand off and jump at this one, but Husband does well. And a soccer kick from Smith doesn't gain much ground. White tried to spin out before she had the football. Goes back and then just toe pokes it into some space for Lowe. Weston's there as well. Good support from Weston. Clean with the hands, gets it forward to Carter. Thought about giving it back instead. Goes with the better option to the top of the goal square. Goodwin Wissink makes a bit of a nuisance of herself and gets in the way of a couple of Peel players, but clearing out of defence there for the Thunder was Bilsich. Into the middle, Roberts. Great pick up and hand pass. Away to the dashing Britton. Towards Phillips at centre half forward. Goes one-handed. Recovery's pretty good from Phillips. Soccer's off the deck. Leading in the race back there is Fortescue. Has Bartlett watching her closely. On the choppy ground there in the shadows. Does pretty well. Gets a clearing kick away. Bad bounce for Britton. Roberts will be first to it though. Not beyond her from here. 45 out. Long kick to the top of the goal square. It's a great kick. Phillips gets back. Can't mark. Socket off the deck by Bartlett, but she's missed to the right. Just shows the danger of the kick of Ella Roberts from 45 out, getting it right to the teeth of goal.
If Kira Phillips would back herself to catch that 9 times out of 10. Lost her footing just momentarily. Sticky fingers usually, and loves a snagger from the top of the square, although she's better on the run. This is a good dash out of defence by Claremont. Kick is a good one. It's over the line off Garstone's hands. That's a good result from the kick in. Ortlip again trusted with those duties. Kicked it right out to outlet, 65 metres out from goal. With this ball in towards the corridor. Really will suit Peel. We do mention it from time to time, but I love the fact that these throw-ins open up the game. I don't think Claremont necessarily deserve to have it so perpendicular to goal. Meanwhile, Smith, little surge kick, doesn't get as much foot on it as she intended. Keeps the door open for Peel. Inside to Britton. Been busy early, showing a dash. Right set of task. She shoves Hamilton Smith off the ball. Roberts again, right footer, pulls it across her body. Kira Phillips, Ortlip leaves her, comes and attacks the footy. Second effort's good too. Wrapped up, Bartlett. Handball's back. Ortlip just takes the ball to ground. You'd think that she will get the result she was after, which is a little stoppage inside 50. What is dangerous in this area potentially is throwing the ball in to the top of 50. Numbers here for Claremont. Donald up in the ruck. She's going up against Phillips. Phillips 2 hands. Sophie McDonald the 1. Back feed to Hamilton Smith. It's loose ball. Picked up, kicked around the corner. Appeal to the top of the square. Charging out now. Handball back towards Roberts. Busy early, Roberts. She goes this way and that. Feeds a runner. It's Britton. Okay, usually, though she does hand back to Roberts. Trying to manufacture a shot here. It's just bringing Claremont into the game. Ends up with Britton again. Finally, she takes the shot. She should have taken the first time and she kicks a goal. No, McDonald back on the line. Really some celebration from the Peel players ahead of play, but they're going to have to get into the zone. Now, that was wonderful play. I thought Britton should have done that the first time. Must have been a very close thing on the line. Sophie McDonald, good discipline.
Hard to see down there in the shadows. It looked as though it was over the line, but the goal umpire is in the best position. Right there, straddling the line.
Nice to see Britton take her shots.
A little chip back in from Ortlip. Finding McDonald. McDonald's got a player out wide, although Baxter's onto this. Won't quite get there. The mark taken by Fortescue and a bit of treatment. Orm wants to come past for the hand pass. She would have just about run herself out of bounds if she had accepted that. So the kick goes towards centre half back. Great leap from behind from Cassie Davidson. Getting it forward, Valentini. Turning it over, Schilling takes a good mark. Great to see her playing some league footy. Very promising defender. Kicks to Roberts, who crashes the pack. Got hands to the footy. Recovery's outstanding. Kick is smothered. She'll go back and pick it up again. What a collect off the deck. Hand pass off to Fenton. Kicks in the direction of Bartlett. can't take the mark. Claremont looked to clear. Quick kick out of defence again from Fortescue. Works out pretty well. Husband about to be tackled. Gets a hand pass to White. She was quick with the hands. Valentini moves it now for White. As being tackled, she gets a kick away and Smith does nicely. And puts on the boot, but kicks really to the advantage of Peel. Schilling makes a good spoil on Goodwin Wissink, but she follows up well. Knocks it away. In comes Gunton, dispossessed. Schilling coming through again. Husband off a step. High up and under. It hasn't travelled 15, so play on's the call. No one able to take the mark anyway. Gunton wants to wrestle away out of the tackle. Fenton feeds it back to Wrigley. Her quick kick. Jess Lowe backing back. Unfortunately didn't fall for her. Roberts with the left. Superb kick. Finds her teammate Bartlett, who wants to play on. Kicks with the outside of the boot and doesn't get the spin she was after. And another behind for Peel. They're attacking the goals early. Can't find the opening. And I know we've mentioned it many times before whenever we've seen Ella Roberts play. Her understanding of the game is superior to virtually every player out there. And she's still a kid.
I think Kate Bartlett's obviously been backed by her teammates because Kira Phillips didn't even look back after she took her shot. It's a good ball movement from Claremont. Meanwhile, what I mean by that, of course, is Kira Phillips had a little case to say how about her hands from Bartlett. Bartlett in such good form. She was back to take the shot. It's Elkington below her knees. And the ball up. Claremont moved the ball in a blink of eye from fullback to half forward. It's Husband working Quaife really well in this instance. On the far side now, no clean possession just yet. A couple of players lurking. Franklin in the right spot. The umpire comes and just tries to clean this up. Weston hasn't really got her speed yet. As the game opens up, we should see her be able to run the footy. Big leap and fly. Ball ricochets, ends up in Fenton's hands. Her kick towards the centre of the ground. Orme. Roberts coming the other way. Feeds a laneway runner. Wonderful football. Chops the ball in towards centre half forward. Griffiths not quite. Brings in Garstone. Been forward for much of this year. Back in her favoured defence at the moment. Diving in, a couple of different players from Peel. It's good enough to get this out towards Orme again. That was low to Orme in the hands of White. Husband's got a bit of space ahead of the ball. Orme instructs her to do so. Husband can set this up really well. Running forward now. A couple of different players, but the ball doesn't go to advantage of Claremont. Schilling comes through, doesn't quite take it with her. Tackle's good from Weston. Brings Orme into the game again. Germanis inside, the outstep of the boot finds Goodwin Wissink. There's two players ahead of the footy, although Valentini snuck in. Can she take the mark? It's good pressure from behind, although it's been a chop of the arms, which was their play on meanwhile. And Germanis has got it to the far side through for a point. Claremont's first score. 3 points Peel. So 1 point Tigers.
Tessa Germanis, who's been given the opportunity to go to the screening. Intercept here from Goodwin Wissink, who takes a good mark, kicks back into the corridor. Peel under pressure. Dowson couldn't take it. Germanis is there. She's taken high. And she'll get the free kick for Claremont. And a bit of a shove as well from Dowson, who was frustrated. Tessa Germanis will go to the pre-draft screening with a number of players. Have a chance to have a shot for goal here. She's kicked 2 goals on 6 occasions this year, so been a real goal kicker for Claremont. A chance to kick the first goal of the game after 10 minutes of play. Going back a long way on the run-up. It's a slow, deliberate approach. The railway end. That left boot just stabs at it. Doesn't make the distance, or does she? Might have just cleared the pack. It's a goal. There's no complaints from the Peel players on the goal line. The ball barely got above 6 foot high all the way, but a goal to Germanis, and Claremont have the first 10.5 into the game. And the Tigers, after probably watching the play from the other end of the ground for the first 8 minutes, get the first. There's no complaints from the Peel.
There's really good ball movement from the Tigers there, and it's the first time they've been able to sort of stretch Peel really well. So it was nice to see. They've sort of been dinking it around, little short handballs, linked up some great running play, and got the deserved result. Big meetings going on inside the centre square now. All the Peel mids in this, including the wings. Sorry, all the Tigers mids in this, including the wings. So Peel 4 just having a chat about what the plan is for here. Very professional. Ready to restart again. It's McDonald in the ruck this time. Still jumping against Quaife. Quaife down. McDonald the rebound. Ricochets around. Maddie Scanlon gets a run at this. Has to slow down to pick it up in the end. She does find the hole. The kick goes no metres. In fact, she'd make any contact with that at all. And Wrigley gets the free kick holding the ball.
Talk about metres gained. 0.
0 metres gained. To Garstone. Lovely early body work, but she spilt the mark in the end, which left Ella Roberts in the game. Is this Bilsich at the top of 50? Streaming through is Roberts. She just knew what was going to go on. As Reggie said earlier, she's taken without the ball or a little leg after she grabbed it, and she's going to get a shot from 45 metres.
She got her own kick there. It wasn't a great kick initially. It was under pressure, but she was the one that chased up and got there first.
Yeah, she just surges the ball forward under pressure and then throws her body in now. She's a chance from here. This ball will travel at least to the line. Well, she's picked off a short lead from Bartlett. Why not? Hits her on the chest. She can't finish the work. She gives it back to Roberts. Roberts has a long shot. Had little juke and the long flying shot. And she's kicked Peel's first. Wonderful individual play. As Wendell Saylor used to say, there is no I in team, but there's a number of them in individual brilliance. Ella Roberts.
That is remarkable football. The kick itself on the lead was outstanding. It hit her target on the chest. It should have been marked. And watch this. The sidestep and the finish. The kicking technique is outstanding. And just a casual celebration as well.
She gets one little hip tap, a couple of little pats. It's just like, you do this all the time, mate. Let's not get too sad. But Kate Bartlett too, after dropping the chesty, just instant reaction, picked that ball cleanly and fed it back to Roberts, who had the flying shot, which she's very comfortable with.
It's unfair to call her a freak, but it's freakish skills.
She does some things.
So the Tigers with the first, Peel with the second. So the score is actually 139 to 117. So Peel by 2 points. Just under 5 minutes of play remaining in the first quarter here at Tigerland. As Fenton wins it out of the middle, hands it away to Baxter. And she sends Peel forward. Garstone gives chase right there as well. Both beaten by a bad bounce. Hamilton Smith creative with the hand pass off to Lowe. Doesn't really get any leads coming straight at her. Franklin just worked off it by Anderson. And Anderson sends it long. Church with a nudge in the back. Gets over the back as well. Here's Bartlett, leaves it for Roberts. Roberts trying to shrug the tackle. Turns the hand pass over this time. And Claremont through Garstone should clear. Kicking to a one-on-one. Britton comes in to apply pressure on Orme, who gives her a little nudge in the hip and dashes away with the football. Kate Orme kicks a low ball. Intercepted by Davidson. Stands up well in the tackle. Off to Fenton. She'll be run down. Just gets her boot to it. Hasn't travelled 15, so Baxter will need to get this one on. She can't. Coming in the opposite direction, Weston. Now to Colvin. Gunton to apply some pressure as well. And out of the pack comes Davidson with a kick across the body towards half forward. Awkward bounce for Church. Aisha right. She'll spin onto the left. Decides to hand pass. McKinley off the deck straight into Orme's chest. And she gives it off to Hamilton Smith. Going wide with her kick. White needs to get a finger to this one. She does. She actually keeps it in. I don't think she really wanted that to happen. Right. Bilsich gets rid of her opponent. And a hand pass to McKinley. Hack kick forward straight to Orme, who's there for about a third possession in this chain.
Nice defence from Orme as a winger. Gets across to Valentini, to Smith, to Scanlon maybe. Kate Bartlett sweating on her. Pushed off the footy nicely eventually. Kate Bartlett still tracking this ball well. It's massive improvement in the game. Hips and shoulders over the ball. Look for a little push. It wasn't quite to give her to give. Looks like Baxter pulled this in. 2v1. Claremont has the numbers. Aisha Wright. She changes things down there with her speed. She gets the left foot ball away. It's going to bounce in the square, and it's just a matter of where it will bounce, and it bounces and takes its true line. There's a bit of leg break there for Aisha Wright, but her speed will be worrying in the front end for Peel.
You see Charger Griffiths getting a touch there as well, getting the hard ball and feeding it out to Wright.
I'll pick up who that was, but yes, Griffiths, if it's not her debut, it'd be close. Colvin for Claremont 2-1 debut, and this little kick in from Ortlet finds Garstone, not Garlert, Garstone on the far side. Scanlon the lead ahead. Just assesses, long down the line. Valentini presents, it's Weston. Weston finds the ball off the hands at the front of the pack and takes on. This is what we've been after. Doesn't take a bounce, but hits up beautifully and gets the ball back again. Dowson has to trap her, does it well. She's held up now, and she's been called for holding the ball, and it's almost a goal-saving tackle there, because once Weston breaks two lines, there's no one that's going to catch her.
Super speed shown there. I don't think the Claremont coaches would be too upset that she was caught holding the ball in the end. Dowson, very reliable defender, sends this towards half forward. Almost able to take the mark on the chest there is Baxter. In fact, not Baxter, it's Bellaman who's on the field now for Peel. Schilling crashes the pack in the middle of the ground. Gunton It's a little shepherd and now nearly runs into Demanis. Fends her off strongly and sends it long. There's 2 Tigers waiting for this. They both watch it hit the deck though. Coming through Garstone to mop things up for Claremont. Kicks into space. Awkward bounce for McKinley. It's a shocker of a bounce. Beautiful for Lowe though, who's able to dash away. Uses the ball well. And the Goodwin Wissink has the footy on the wing. Right beneath our broadcast position. Lowe keeps on running. Steps around Schilling. Back to Goodwin Wissink. She'll try to barge her way through Barton, who wrapped her up, but somehow Goodwin Wissink got the hands free. Good use again from Lowe. Gets it to Carter. Dashing into some space is Arnott, who can run on and take the mark. She wants to take on the player on the mark. Wrigley comes to support, sidesteps her as well. Kicks to the player in the goal square. Weston, who can't mark, needs to keep it in. She does, and clever. She comes backwards with her kick. Does it nicely. Not sure why you want to play on in this situation, Valentini. Straight up in the air to the top of the goal square, and it's all Peel. Mark taken by Barton. Surely that pass to Valentini was at least 15 decks, and she could have gone back and had a shot.
I didn't see the umpire make a gesture to mark it or play it on, so maybe it was touched off the boot. There was no one with the vicinity. Gunton going the wrong way. It's called that she got their handball out under pressure. I didn't see. She definitely wasn't touched because there was no one around. It was very clever thinking just to get that ball back in a calm manner as this quarter ticks towards its end. There's 9 seconds to play before Sophie and Barton. So a chance for Tigers. What if Wrigley gets a possession here? Handballs out to Phillips, who's worked her way up the ground from full forward, and she gets the last kick of the quarter. And after talking about how much I love the siren, that was underwhelming. I think there's a new person on the siren that gave that a little stab.
Give it a rev.
Yeah, a bit of rev here at Revo Stadium. If you meant that, that's very clever. 1 goal, 1 the Tigers to 1-4 to Peel. It's a 3-point advantage to the Peel Football Club, who really did dominate possession for much of that game. Did think that the Tigers moved the ball well at different times. We'll have a little break, come back, and we'll be able to assess the first quarter and predict the second here with the front row screens.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Rule 1. No internet searching.
New Optus Pause puts the Optus Living Network in your hands. It allows you to pause your Optus mobile and home Wi-Fi connections with one touch. Because sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
What can be broken but can't be held?
It starts with yes.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Inside the Claremont huddle, as the Tigers are talking about it at quarter time, they're down by 3 points, 1-1 playing 1-4. They did kick the first goal through Tessa Demanis, but then Ella Roberts responded with a goal for Peel. But the Thunder actually kicked a batch of behinds to start the game. They probably should be a couple of goals in front, but they're 3 points to the good as we look at some of the highlights in the first quarter. Dave Lindsay and Clint Degerot, your commentary team here at Claremont Oval, and it was a scrappy first quarter, Degs. Both teams had a couple of opportunities up forward that they probably would have taken on a different day, but let's hope that the standard and the flow of the game improves over the course of the afternoon.
Something we haven't mentioned is tackle presence of Abby Barnett. has been exceptional. Really getting in, so ice to thighs and dig in, as some of the coaching points are with the tackling, and she hasn't missed one yet. Probably saved a goal there with Goodwin-Wissick in the highlights. Ella Roberts has been very, very good early, as has Kate Bartlett. This one here, I really like the way that, I think days gone by, Kira Phillips might have given a bit of a spray to Kate Bartlett there, but they're working well together. They've actually grown up together, those two, so that helps too. Claremont have had some really, really good passage of play where they move the ball forward. You can see Emma Goodwin-Wissick on the end of this one. Some good work from behind the ball. Unfortunately, Jemanis played on, missed, but then she marked the kick in and then kicked a goal. It was 3 parts shin and only 2 parts foot, but it carried the line. You're watching Ella Roberts' flying shot. Peel's one and only goal from 40 after her pass was ricocheted back to her. So she's had a good start too. She's exceptional to watch, Ella Roberts. You can talk her up as much as you like. You couldn't accurately explain her impact on a game. And also, what a humble kid she is. She wants a lot less attention than she's getting at the moment. She just wants to be free to play footy with her friends, which is just refreshing as well.
2 coaches giving their final instructions before the team's break from quarter time. Steve Markham, the premiership coach of Peel, looking to defend his title over the next month. And a round of applause for someone in there in the huddle. He's obviously brought something up that everyone enjoyed. And some of their up-and-coming players just standing off to the side of our picture at the moment. Courtney Rowley out with some ligament damage in the ankle, and Jade Briggs, who suffered stress fracture, I think it wasn't it, in the foot? Is that correct?
Yeah, she had a couple of stress responses in her foot. I think she had 3 hot spots at one stage, and I think it's down to 1 little spot. But she's
seeing the physio tomorrow and hoping, crossing her fingers, she might get clearance to play. But I imagine time's probably running out for her.
It's more how hard she worked to get herself in a peak condition. Unfortunately, just had a little reaction in that foot. In the Claremont huddle, watching on was Matilda Dyke, who's been rucking for Claremont after debuting as a defender. She's got a broken finger, and Emily Bennett not playing in today's game. I don't know what's going on there. You can see Matilda Dyke having a bit of a dance at the side there. Her finger strapped up, badly broken finger. I think she broke it and played on, and then was assessed during the week and told, no, that's not good at all.
She's a tough cookie, Matilda Dyke. Both huddles breaking up now.
Good to see Gunton. One thing that we really watch her in the Rogers Cup is she hits up and she runs and carries and then she kicks. It's something that she didn't do as much of in the State 19s program, but she's done it once here today in this league team, and I think that'll put her in good stead for the future. That's the player she is.
She looks confident today.
Yep,
Didn't always look super confident with the State 19s. That'll come. She's a young player.
It's a bit about self-belief. We all know how good she is within the program. She just has to follow along and believe in her coaches, and Markham has given her a game, and she has shown what she's good at. She's brought her A game. Big fend off, run and carry, and then lace out a target.
So the players taking their positions to start the second term. You see Lauren Quaife there in the circle. She's been leaping at the centre bounces and a few ball ups around the ground as well, opposed to Matilda Husband at the start of this second quarter. Peel by 3 points. They will finish second on the table. They'll travel to Bassendean next week for a second semi-final contest. The winner of that goes straight into the grand final. The Tigers, on the other hand, they already know they're taking on Subiaco in the first semi-final next week, which is an elimination game. If they win here today, they get to host that match. If it's a loss for them here this afternoon, then they travel to Leederville Oval. As we mentioned, Subi have been in excellent form. They beat East Fremantle by a couple of goals yesterday as well to finish off the Sharks season. Such a disappointing year for East Fremantle. As Claremont worked this one through a chain of hand passes to Scanlon. She goes wide with her kick. Demanis was the only hope out there. She's dragged off the football. She'll get the free kick. Barndon physical on that occasion. The umpire saying illegally. So Demanis wheels around with that left foot. She spears it in low. It gets over the back. There's a player that's ducked out, and it'll be an easy goal here for the Tigers as Mika Carter walks that one in. And that's that spearing kick of Demanis that had managed to clear the pack, and Carter was alert. She just backed off and really kicked the easiest goal you'll see today, Dex.
Interesting, unmanned in the goal square too. Drawn to the football, perhaps her opponent, and then once you do that, you must impact the ball. The common sort of call at the moment is impact ball or body, and you can see that unable to impact either. Dowson closing fast, but Mika Carter, who is lightning quick, didn't need to be, in this case, as you said, just walked it in. Disappointing, I guess, defence, and you heard the bang of the desk. You didn't hear it in the effects mic, but the bang of the desk came from the Peel box next door as soon as they saw that play opening up, and just a little mistake, a little defensive error, and it means that Tigers got the lead, 13-10. Back in the middle, Matilda Husband, Lauren Quaife. Husband this time convincingly. Last goal really was from Jess Lowe's exit. This time the ball's given to Baxter from Fenton, who's been busy. Scanlon, really fast on this occasion. Gets a block from Hamilton Smith. Aisha Wright's a handful with her speed. Coming in eventually is Wrigley, rips her off the kick, gives Baxter a chance. She's caught by the pony by Weston, who instantly put her hands up before the whistle. And Nell Baxter, generally a penetrating kick. Sometimes non-conventional drop. In this case, non-conventional drop. Not a great penetrating ball. Ellen Roberts lost to the sun. Aisha Wright had no such problems. This ball's towards Kira Phillips. She's just trying to hold Garstone out. Wrong foots her eventually. Fakes for the handball. She's going to go for the long shot. She's usually good at this situation, but it looks like we'll slide across and hold its line. Seam up.
Top spinner.
Top spinner.
Just kept rolling on, didn't it?
But usually clever in that situation, Phillips.
I reckon the Peel Thunder coaching staff, they don't get a chance to have a little gig at Ella Roberts too often, but I reckon they could cut up that bit of vision and just see her with the hands up, looking skyward, wondering where that rebound went to. Not often she doesn't know where the football is. Good kick on the way out. Jess Lowe has been outstanding so far this afternoon. Has it now at half back. It's a good kick as well towards Carter. Drops the mark that she should have taken. And she's got a couple of beats, so she slaps it out towards Franklin. She's elusive. She evades her opponent. Off to Lowe. Kicks underground. That wasn't intentional. And Anderson was onto it quickly. Just overcooks the hand pass a little. In comes Ella Smith. Wearing the number 1 today, the skipper for Claremont. In these Indigenous uniforms. Good mark from Goodwin Wissing. She wants 50 being held onto after taking that mark. Brooke White gives a lead. The kick goes in that direction. It's a super kick and White marks. Weston's breaking goalward. That's the way that White needs to kick it. It's a good long kick to the top of the goal square. It goes beyond there. It'll skid through for a goal. Outstanding kick from Brooke White. I think she took sort of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, kicking to the advantage of Weston all straight through the middle. And it just skidded on that damp ground down there in the shadows. And great start to the second quarter from Claremont. 2 quick goals and they're out to an 8-point lead.
That's exactly what Kira Phillips was trying to do at the other end, and skidded on from the square. Just didn't get the direction right. But Brooke White, I'm going to give her 100%. She was kicking that to Weston. Just a shallow drop, and I don't think Weston will be too upset with that result. May have been if it had gone through a point.
That ground down there in probably the 30 metres closest to goal is very choppy. Doesn't get a lot of sunlight. And you can see, as the camera pans left later in the quarter, there's a lot of dark ground down there that doesn't recover too well, and it would be quite damp. So you can definitely use that to your advantage as a forward.
Bounce seems true. The footing is slippery. Husband starting to get on top in the ruck here. People have to address that. This is Smith. Pressure comes from McKinnon. I was going to say McKinley. She didn't have the ball at any stage, Smith, and she'll get the free kick for being tackled without it. Leads break around the ground. She's more intent on a switch, it would seem. Arnott's at a 45. Goes further than her. Gets it over back to Colvin. Highly skilled young player. Misses it this occasion. Fenton, another young player, is able to kick this down the line. Aisha Wright gets herself in a good position, but then she falls over. Smith comes in. Ella Roberts picks her pocket. This ball will go long and deep. Ortlap was wise to it. Very clever footballer. She's able to get back and track this one towards the line. Very, very good defensive play. In the end, she might get a kick, but no, she scores a try for Claremont in this occasion, and she was wise to what was going on there. And I think if she had stayed on her player, Peel would have been all over him. Very good from Ortlap. Ball in. Forward 50 for Peel. Garstone gets a double fister on it towards the line. Wrigley's appealing for deliberate, but you are allowed to do that in the ruck as long as it doesn't go out on the full. Pretty much do it in the same spot. She might have gained 3 defensive metres, or 3 attacking metres. Metres gained 3. Goes to Garstone off her double fist. It looks like she'll take the ruck again against Phillips. Getting a run at Phillips. Phillips tries to take it out of the ruck. Not a bad idea. Hamilton Smith gives it ball back to Garstone. It ends up in her lap as she's tossed to the ground by Kira Phillips.
It's not a place you want to be in the tackle of Kira Phillips. Doesn't take any prisoners there. Good ruck work from Husband. Whipped it down to her teammate Arnott. Couldn't get a clean hand pass away. And a good tackle applied by Hamilton Smith, and Claremont clear through Garstone. Fenton blocking the run of the footy. Good hassle there from Hayley Colvin. In comes Lowe, wrestling with Wrigley. That's a good battle. And the umpire's seen enough of that, so he'll ball it up.
Hayley Colvin started her journey at Perth Footy Club with the Angels.
On the wing at the moment. Here for the Tigers. Husband over the top with the tap. In comes Colvin, beaten to it by Roberts, who again just throws herself at that football. And it comes to Valentini, pulled off the kick by Gunton. McKinley's little soccer kick, collected by Wrigley. Best on ground in last year's grand final, of course. Kick goes high and wide. Hannah Church is there. McKinley fighting on, opposed to Elkington. She becomes the tackler. Husband kicks into a dangerous position. Franklin tries to make it good. Awkward bounce for Britain. Franklin goes and collects it again, driven into the ground in that tackle. And Amy Franklin will get the free kick at centre half back.
Desperate to stop her run of the football was Anderson, a bit overzealous. Emma Goodwin-Wissink has marked the ball well on her chest today. It's been a play through at centre half forward, though she's high up the ground. She's got a runner in Elkington. She draws 2. Long over that, there's nothing present except for Bilsich. She feeds it back to Dowson. Back to Bilsich again. Back to Dowson. Bit of piggy in the middle with Brooke White. And eventually, Bilson's kick will clear towards the far wing, and Cassie Davison has a hand. She stops but doesn't go behind her mark, then plays on. Clever play from the experienced defender. This is Bartlett finding Phillips. Hits her on the chest within scoring range. Well, Peel just managed to work that out. 7 or 8 possessions to get it here. But Claremont not being able to cover off 1v1 ahead of the footy. This is not Phillips' favourite place. It's the set shot. Very good manipulator of the footy. Loves the sets, loves the little snaps. She is a good kick, so keeps in line with the footy. She'll get the journey. It's a good kick. It's just slid across a little to the right. Brings in the Claremont defenders. Arnett will be unwise to choose to keep that in. She does the wise thing and steps it over.
Kind of a good contest, this one. Standard lifting as well. Claremont by 8 points midway through the second quarter. A win for the Tigers. They finish 3rd on the table, and they'll host the first semi-final next week. Both of these teams with finals to come. Short throw in from the boundary umpire. Didn't quite get to Garstone, who was rucking there against Phillips. They slap it away, the Tigers. Here comes Bilsich. Little hand pass off to Wrigley. Swings onto the right boot. Kicks it back to where we started again. Phillips wrestling with Garstone. Comes off the fist of Garstone out the back. Ortlup goes underground with her hand pass. Phillips holds her up. Umpires spotted a free kick, and Ortlup was legged. So Rachel Ortlup played every game for the Tigers this year. Just 3 Claremont players have done that. It's to switch play to the right back pocket. And a chance for the Tigers to set things up down that far side of the ground through Mackenzie Webb. It's long to half back. Franklin nicely done. Gives it away to Hamilton Smith. Hayley Colvin dodges back onto her right boot. Franklin gives chase here. Ball sits up nicely for her. Tigers get Brooke White over the back here. They could be in business if she picks it up cleanly. Schilling gives chase. Got hold of her almost on the shoulder. White was too strong. Comes back inside. It's a pack of Tigers here, but the hand pass just goes behind Smith. Clever with the soccer kick. Gives Scanlon a chance. Held up in a good tackle there by Wrigley. And Peel have worked this pretty well. And they've managed to hold Claremont up. They're on the break, but they force a stoppage at centre half back for Peel.
Just for a moment, looked like we're going to get a Brooke White Western reunion. Well, held up by Peel. Run down. Kick away from the pack is good. Coming up to meet the ball nicely is the lady from the Gold Coast, playing at Claremont here, Fortescue. Falls into the hands of Claremont. Immediately wrapped up. Ball up pretty much dead centre. You can see the bullseye behind the ruck taps. This is good again. Is that Bella man getting that ball around the corner? Picked up by Fortescue. Into the path of Westerns. Worked from one side, one wing to the other. Slipping over in front is Baxter. And Ella Roberts has nicked this one off her toe and got it over the line on the full. Either way, it's off the boot. So it's a Claremont kick, Western. So her running is elite compared to her kicking. This is a nice and neat one to Scanlon. Good decision. Has improved her kick across the 2 seasons. Scanlon now, long to the middle of the ground, hoping for something special from Franklin, and she gets it. This works Tanisha Anderson on the ball, who is hailing umpire's possessions. Breaking on the far side of the ground is Mika Carter. She steps inside, she's always going to, the rugby sevens player. Can she get the distance? She has a bounce, she'll step again. No, pulls it around the corner, tries to favour Germanis. Had to go towards the square, although she was shoved over after she disposed of it. And Germanis will get a chance to kick her 2, which she does so often.
Mika Carter just ran herself into a bit of a hole there after taking off. Needed to get the kick on a bit earlier, perhaps.
I would have put half my house on her stepping back inside there. Played rugby sevens for Australia. Elite speed, elite step. And her work has got Jimenez a shot, which is very kickable by her standards. Every chance this slides shallow. She does get it up nice and high. It looks like from the way everyone's moving that it's slid across. And it's a point. It struck the post in the end. You can see the Eagles wraps. Of course, they sponsor this competition.
Chippy Dowson to bring it back in. Dashes out of the square. Kicks short and too short. Smith was onto it quickly. Takes the mark. She wants to get it back inside to the top of the goal square. Good option. It's always the smart play to get it moving quickly from there, because with the way the defence is set up on the kick back in, there should be forwards everywhere. And Goodwin Wissink was all by herself at the top of the goal square.
Nice little kick in.
Wasn't it? Just swung around quickly. See players take too long on those occasions. There's always spare players around. So Goodwin Wissink just needs to find a good piece of turf to kick from down there. It's a little bit chopped up. In she comes, pokes at it a little bit. But she's done enough, I reckon. The goal umpire did a lot of work to her right. But it's a goal to Goodwin Wissink, and Claremont have 3 in a row. With 5 minutes to go in this second quarter, they're out to a very handy break. 15 points is their lead. We've seen them in similar positions to this all through the season, Dex, and they often give up a lead. So I wonder how their coach's box is sitting at the moment. I'm sure they won't be relaxing just yet.
Well, a bit of same old for Steve Markhams, because you've got to come in. If you look at the scoreboard right now, it is 6 scoring shots to 6 scoring shots. It's just that it's 4-2 Tigers. 1-5 Peel. Some of those have been kickable. A lot of them have been under pressure. Scoring power of Peel, though, it's not an issue to be 4 or 5 behind. I think 3 years ago, 3 goals was too many. You got Bartlett and Kira Phillips. 4 goals in a quarter, no issue for the Peel Football Club. But Claremont, irresistible at the moment. This is Husband again against Quaife. Quaife back in, trying to even up the ledger. This is Scanlon breaks through. Doesn't choose to have a bounce, but she kicks the ball in. It was an early call of holding front, run too far. She probably did run, but the umps usually let you run your distance and then they put the clock on you. And I reckon that's what Scanlon did there. She knew the clock was up, so she kicked.
I know the umpires have to umpire to the rule of the game, but as a spectator, there's nothing wrong with what we just saw there. But
it's a nice run from Scanlon. You'd want to see that all day long. This kick is going to favour Dowson. She basketballs it to herself. Backs feed to a player that was already being tackled. The umpire did see that. She didn't receive the ball before the Husband tackle came on. Now, if I was Matilda Husband, I'd be tackling Ella Roberts early too. Schilling comes up at the ball. Seems to be thrown forward. It's in the hands of Smith. Schilling, the tackler. In fact, it's a bit of a team tackle down there. No chance for Smith to get that out.
Looks like McKinley's gone back. She was on a wing before, and Barnden's basically playing the goalkeeper role. So Peel have that extra right down deep in defence. It's not working for them at the moment. Jess Lowe wins this. And Claremont are away. Here's the speedster. Weston with a dash. The bounce didn't come back to her. Aisha Wright's not too slow either, but she's fallen straight into the back of Weston. So Weston will get the free kick. As Dex mentioned earlier, kicking has improved. It's a good distance on this one. Carter with a fist forward gains another 10 metres, up to meet at Hayley Colvin. A little bit of help there from Peel. McKinley just flips it across, and there's a good dash from Britton. I'd like to see her take the game on. Kicks into a dangerous position. Both sides ready to break from here, but they won't get the opportunity. You'll see a ball up with 2.5 to play in the second quarter. Peel haven't kicked a goal this term.
Jess Fenton just added herself to Hayley Colvin's Christmas card list, because if Jess Fenton had a body line on that ball, Colvin would be in the hands of the trainers. This is Church for Peel. Clever kick in. Bartlett traps it well. Was going to go and give it, but realised that it was Orme. Goes back to Britton, has a little fumble. Eventually handballs forward, looking for Wrigley and or Roberts. Coming up to meet the ball well there. Claremont defending nicely. Church patrolling the perimeter to right. It's Aisha Wright. Handball from Bilsich in the hands now of Schilling. Be via Britton. Right again. Clever handball. Nearly too fast for everybody. Dowson. Inside-outside kick from Church. Goes outside, over the fence.
Wanted some inside on it.
Yeah, well, sort of ball faced that way, and I thought she might have been doing something clever, but she got all of it over the fence. Minute 30 to play. Peel can score here and set up a really good third quarter. But Sophie McDonald, usually a good decision maker by foot.
She did have a look across goals to Kate Orme, but at this time of the quarter, decides that safety's a better option. Franklin with a big leap from behind, can't take it from Ella Roberts, who wants to play on while she's being held up. How will the umpire see this?
Well, it's holding the ball or 50.
Smith's got a smile on her face, so too Roberts. Now, as soon as Smith lets her go, she moves it on quickly towards full forward. The leap came from Bartlett. Too deep there, couldn't take that mark. And then Scanlon kicks into space. There's no one here for Claremont. If it goes out, it's a free kick as well. First there is McKinley. At least from a Claremont point of view, it's as far away from goal as they could have it. Orme trapped it with the boot. Couldn't find the handle, so just slapped it back to Garstone, made it her problem. She kicks it long, gets it out of the area. Dumanis takes the bouncing footy, pops a hand pass over the top to no one. Britton paddles to the advantage of Bellaman. Good pick up on the bounce, off to Fenton. In towards centre half forward. Roberts and Franklin collide in the air. There'll be front-on contact against Roberts. As Franklin is coming at the footy, and Roberts had to turn to go back and fetch it. So Franklin gets the free kick. A couple of very talented up-and-coming youngsters. They give each other a bump as well after Franklin gets the kick away. And another youngster in Schilling takes a very well-judged mark on the wing beneath our broadcast position. Not her best kick. Dumanis would like it back as well. Through comes Roberts. Just tripped as she was about to get a hand pass away. A free kick going Claremont's way as Kira Phillips just making her presence felt. A free kick going the way of Mika Carter, and that might be all we see here in the first half. And then Carter throws the ball at Phillips. Very friendly little throw, sort of at the knees of Phillips. And Carter turns and walks away. Phillips thought about going back over there to have a bit more to say.
It'll be an interesting stoush. Phillips not shy with a bit of argy-bargy, but I'd imagine that Mika Carter, as part of her Australian contract, we did a fair bit of boxing in her day. I know she'll never take a back step in any competition anyway.
Well, the match livened up in that second quarter. Claremont kicking 3 goals to Peel's none. And as it is now at half-time, it's the Tigers by 15 points. But a little bit of spice just before, or just after the half-time siren, just before the teams head into their room. So it could be interesting to see how things start again in the second half. The umpires quite conveniently just standing in between the two sides as they start to wander off the ground. You can see the Tigers pretty happy with themselves coming to their rooms at the halftime break. They lead it by 15 points here on front row screens. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll come back and have a chat about what we've seen in the first half.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Rule 1. No internet searching.
New Optus Pause puts the Optus Living Network in your hands. It allows you to pause your Optus mobile and home Wi-Fi connections with one touch. Because sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
What can be broken but can't be held?
It starts with yes.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
We've got the Little League girls out there here at Claremont Oval.
Good kick to advantage.
Yeah, Wembley Downs girls playing against a team in the Claremont Indigenous jumpers. It's good to see them out there enjoying themselves and getting a few kicks. And there's a goal on TV as well. Well done, number 25. You can come back and watch that as many times as you like. That's a goal for you.
It's a polite clap from a teammate. Opposition, I imagine it, they're both from Wembley Downs.
We're about to see some of the highlights here from the first half in the league match. Dave Lindsay and Clint Degerot, your commentary team here on front row screens this afternoon. And the Tigers with a big second quarter, kicking 3 goals to zip after it was a tight first quarter. And they led it by 15 points at half-time, Dex.
That's barn and tackle. I could watch that over and over. Wonderful support. Yeah, no, Claremont kicked into gear. They started kicking the ball a bit deeper. They were bowled through the corridor, that's for sure. And if you noticed around the stoppages, of course, the inside-outside balance belonged to Claremont. As soon as the handball burst free, it was either Weston or Scanlon or Lowe that was able to carry the football, break a line. And Weston has come alive. She's broken a few lines. Scanlon's trying to do the same thing. Lowe's been good since the start. So all in front of Peel, and Claremont are playing the football that I imagine they've been imagining they could play the last 2 years.
It's been a strange season for Claremont. They started pretty well. They actually reached the top of the table, second on the table, when they beat Peel back in round 5, I think it was. But the back half of the year, they've actually lost 5 of their last 6. Their only win in the last 6 games is against South Fremantle. And you can see Ella Roberts here, nice sidestep and a finish for her goal here today. But it's been bit of a season of 2 halves for Claremont, but there's still time. You only need 3 good weeks of footy at the end of the season to take home a premiership, and really the top 4 are pretty evenly matched. I know Swans have won all but 1 game. Peel are the reigning champs. Subi are coming with a rush, and Claremont have so much talent on their list, and when they play like they have today, they're a real threat as well. So it's beautifully set for the next month of footy.
It's a bit sensitive, but an observation you can make is that Claremont have really benefited from the players that have been thanked for their time at West Coast, because they're all instantly injected into this game in terms of the Claremont players that were Eagles listed. You can see a number of those players having an instant impact on this team. And Orm, when you get to play Kate Orm, either in the anchor role, she just holds a position which you can then play off. A very smart player. She knows her limitations. She knows her strengths. And someone like that can change the structure of a team. And today what I can see from Claremont is their structure's better around the ball.
The defence is well set, isn't it? Garstone is back in defence again today, and Kate Orm's down there in Ortlip as well.
I think Garstone's a defender, and she's very good at it. She's very natural. It's very natural to her, and I think it's great to do that. I know why you'd put her forward, because she gives you such a contest. But such a natural intercepting, floating, and releases on the 45 to runners. It's a perfect place for her.
You've got the tolls up forward with White, Goodwin, Wissink, and Franklin. Franklin's roaming a little bit today. She's starting forward most of the time, but we've seen her take a few marks across half-back as well. So, as we say, the names we're mentioning, they're all very, very talented footballers, and they've given Claremont a 15-point lead here today.
And as we say, just before we go to the package, is the scoring power of Peel and the transition and running power of Peel. This game they're not out of this game by any means.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the second half. There is Amy Franklin. Clever little use of the hands without giving a push in the back. Nice little sidestep from the Wembley Downs girls there as well.
This game's got up a cock down here.
They're enjoying it down there as well. Time for us to, with the help of Optus, take a look at AFL Premiership Will Schofield's return to the Waffle. It starts with yes.
I started my career here in Western Australia. I played most of my first year at Peel. It was kind of a good transition between junior footy for me and then AFL. It was that middle ground where I sort of grew up a little bit, and it was why I was keen on coming back here. I really felt like that did have a lot to do with me developing not only as a footballer but as a man.
So Hawthorn have done it.
Probably took a long time to get over 2015. When you make a grand final, you think it's the best thing ever, and then when you lose it, you realise it actually could be the worst day of your life. 2015 was just a horrible day. It took almost 3 years to get back there. 2018 was life-defining for me. My best mate was killed in a bike accident. After round 1, went to the funeral in Victoria. Pretty much considered not coming back to AFL. I had my first child in June of that year, so that was a real wake-up call for me, and it was great. Fatherhood, changed me a lot. It was a huge roller coaster ride for me that year. Really feeling like my whole AFL life, it was all just gone, and I missed the opportunity. I was not going to get the opportunity to validate my work by playing in a premiership. I wanted that opportunity to, in my mind, validate my worth as a player, but as a person.
The Eagle has landed for the Premiers in 2018.
Having won it certainly helped that, but I've definitely come to realise your value isn't what you are as a player, it's what you are as a person.
Yeah, well, really, when Scully decided to finish up playing at AFL level, I think he was lured naturally back to Peel, because this is where he played his football before he played AFL, and he felt the sense of the community down here, and he's got a young family. So, from what I can understand, it was quite an easy decision for Will to come back to the club, and yeah, we're definitely thankful that we've got him.
Like sort of any player that comes out of the AFL, you're exposed to an elite level of everything really that comes with AFL. Training, diet, mentality, you name it, we've seen it at AFL level. So I guess some guys go into coaching, and not really for me. I don't really see myself as a coach, but I do like teaching and I like leading young men.
I know he's really optimistic about the young talent that's coming through here at the club. So it's been great for him to run our emerging leaders program with our Colts and our senior emerging leaders. There's no doubt that he'll help those guys develop.
I do it fortnightly. We work through everything I've learned as an AFL footballer. So it's a little bit of a masterclass for them on leadership, but really it's about being a better man and leading better as a person, understanding yourself and giving you a platform to succeed. If the guys go out and get drafted, I'd be proud, but it'd be awesome to see. But if they come out and they've learned something and they're able to be a better person outside the footy club, well, I've probably played my role.
There's always a dog at WAFLW, and we've got one here at Claremont Oval, all dressed up. We've got the Claremont scarf on as well, I think.
This is caught on from Skinny Osborne's dog that wears the Swans banner. So Claremont now have their mascot. It's a sheepy out there chasing, well, hopefully not that young man, but the ball, I imagine.
Chasing the footy that he's just kicked through for a goal. But the girls are having a great time, and it is fantastic to see Little League at WAFLW. We've seen it at WAFL level in the men's comp for so long, and it's always a thrill for the boys who get a chance to play. You can imagine that the girls are having an absolute ball out there at the moment. So great to see them. The sirens is blowing for them. They're going to make the run through for Claremont.
Could be
That's
Emily.
A return out there.
Could be Emily Pickett's dog, or Mackenzie Darrick's down there too. But Pixie's the one throwing the ball for it.
Okay. There's always a dog, isn't there? Most WAFLW games, someone brings the dog in. As the girls come and line up to allow Claremont to have a run through as they return to the field. We'll take a break. Tigers lead it by 15 points here at home. Claremont side trying to lock up third spot on the table.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Rule 1. No internet searching.
New Optus Pause puts the Optus Living Network in your hands. It allows you to pause your Optus mobile and home Wi-Fi connections with one touch. Because sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
What can be broken but can't be held?
It starts with yes.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Tigers just about to make their way out onto Revo Fitness Stadium, Claremont Oval, and they lead by 15 points against Peel. The final round of WAFLW fixtures here for this season before the finals start next week. The girls that just played the Little League match are ready to provide that run through. The person in charge of the Siren Digs has been listening to our call, I'm sure, because they gave it a good rev then. There were 3 or 4 revs. Well, actually, they don't need to do that.
Usually we could see who they are. You can also see the reserves down there. Won their game today, and you can see they've got the jiggles and the dancing down there. The Tiger song was loud and proud as I arrived. It also came to the ground to the tunes of Eye of the Tiger. Very interesting.
A little cliche.
Yes. I was actually at my team's game yesterday, and the Ellenbrook Dockers came out to, I think, an AC/DC song. The Ellenbrook Eels, bringing some class to C3 footy in the PFL. Still waiting here for
the umpires have been out here for a long time. The goal umpires have had enough. They're walking to their ends, and neither team is out on the field. So
there was 2 sirens. There's a 2-minute warning. Yeah. No team on field yet. So no warm up, you'd imagine. Just straight into position.
We do often see this in WAFLW, don't we? The coaches hold them in their rooms for a long time. Peel come out now. They're away to the left of this picture that you can see. We're still waiting on Claremont to come through because that's where all the action is.
At this venue, though, of course, you can do a pretty solid warm up in the room. So you imagine that's what's happening. Although Peel are indicating that they will be going through some kind of warm-up.
I think they just go to the huddle generally, don't they? Like, everyone seems to jog out, quick huddle here, hands in, and off you go.
1, 2, 3, Peel. There goes the noise, as you can hear underneath us. And out come, here it is again, Eye of the Tiger.
And they're smashing their teammates as they run through. This must be a directive, surely. They're giving them all a smash on the back, a little push. They're running the gauntlet as they get through the Rezzies. Mika Carter gets through all that and turns and runs to the bench.
Mika Carter's instant reactions might be a big dusty fend-off, Marinoff fend-off, turbo fend-off.
Claremont definitely trying to find some energy as they come through there and now go into some leg swings, and you'll imagine they'll break up. Kate Orme off to the left's looking for someone to hold on to for her leg swings. There's no one there.
Oh, back Orme's balance. She could do one alone. Here comes her partner in crime, Mika Carter. Must have forgot something in the room, so stuck back in. Whereas Peel just had a quick chat. Gave it the old 1, 2, 3 Peel, which...
Oh, works wonders, doesn't it? Because Claremont are about to do 1, 2, 3 Claremont, and then it's 15 all.
I don't know. And then when you mix them up and you go play north versus south in a talent north on 3, 1, 2, 3, north.
I think you mentioned in a call a while ago, it used to be that there's one player that called 1, 2, 3.
They did the one. The captain said 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but now everyone does it.
Yeah, everyone does everything.
Yeah, so
very democratic. Even a little bit communist here at female footy in Western Australia. Used to be a basketball thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Defence on 3.
Yep.
Defence.
What time is it? Game time.
Actually, JD Briggs saw something there that you won't share on social media after a long pre-season before the first game. She little Facebook, a little TikTok. It's game day. It's game day. It's game day. Dancing around with her dog at home. Incredibly embarrassed that I'm mentioning this at all. It was wonderful to see. After a long summer of training, unfortunately, Briggsy not out here today.
There might be a speaker in the box next to us because I saw Demi Little just poke her head around the corner and smile at you, so I think she knows the story.
Demi just knew I'd mention her name if she gave me a wave. Good defender, Demi Little.
Big third quarter here. Peel with a lot of work to do. They're down by 15 points. We've seen them come back throughout this season, and they are the reigning champions as well. Bit of a falcon there. It was husband who copped the ball on the head, but she's okay. Applies the tackle. We'll see a secondary ball up. Wrigley searching for the umpire to give the ball back to. And the ruck's back off to have a run and leap. I love seeing this in the women's game. See it so often in the men's where they just stand there and wrestle with each other. In the women's, quite often they back off and have another leap at it. Great hand pass from Weston back to Lowe, and then Orme. Bit of an untidy kick, but puts it out in front of Franklin, who gives a nice little nudge on Anderson. Collects the footy. Anderson with a good second effort, but the Franklin hand pass outstanding. Off again to Lowe and back to Orme once more. High towards wide at half forward. Can't take the mark opposed to Dowson. Good scrap for the footy. Through comes Fenton, who throws that one away to Dowson. Umpire didn't spot that. The kick turned over and Weston set herself up nicely, building the wall at half forward. Wants to poke a kick towards White. Has Carter with the arms outstretched in the pocket. Carter then gives a little block for Demanis, who doesn't lead with any real purpose. Kick goes back towards Carter. No one's picked her up. She's collected in the air. Barndon at the back, a hand pass to Anderson, who kicks almost a torpedo off the outside of the boot. It'll come back, Scanlon. About to be run down by Quaife. Not brought to ground, gets a kick away. Dowson with the fist, off to Wrigley, and Peel are able to clear.
Only as far as Husband, although it does carry her in the end. Roberts lurking, diving in is Church. Ball with Weston from low. Those handball didn't quite connect. She's able to regather under pressure from Roberts. The kick goes to Tanisha Anderson, 6s and 7s, or 6s and 7s and 8s. You put a times table there, I'm in big trouble, but there's not well set up in front of the ball. Claremont, Cassie Davison, however, takes little steps, called a play in front of Orme. She's got an option down the line. Britton, she steps immediately too, puts pressure on herself. Little chip kick. Does favour Gracie Fenton. The run from Britton is good. The overlap, excellent. Little kick towards, it's going to be chopped off in the end by Garstone. Enough of a spoil in there from the Peel player in there to just cause an issue. Ball ends up with Wrigley and Britton. Britton can't quite find the handle. Does in the end. To right. Well, it does want that left foot. Kicks good to Ella Roberts. So nutmegs her, or doesn't nutmeg her. Bounces clean over her head. Approaching the football again, but turning it over to the hands of Peel. Claremont untidy on this occasion. Britton again, third effort in this passage of play. The smother was good from McDonald. McDonald sporting haircut very similar to my mother's in the 1980s.
Should be pleased to hear that.
Well,
your mum or Sophie?
I think Mum would be pleased to hear. I'm not sure Sophie would want to be compared to my mother, but a lot of the 80s stuff is in fashion. I'm just scared and saddened by having lived through the 80s. This ball from Claremont won't be cleared. Well, it will be cleared because Germanis just came and grabbed it. Gets it out to Franklin. Again, Claremont set up nicely in the middle after being a bit untidy in front of the ball. Handball back goes to a kick-off step to Carter. She's well pressured there by Baxter. Looks to be playing back at the moment. Her kick going to be intercepted by Orme.
So Kate Orme on that wing. As Dex mentioned at half-time, she generally sets things up behind the ball for Claremont. Kicks well out wide to Carter, who lost it in the sun. She was all by herself, and you could see from the way that her hands were set up above her head, she had no idea where the footy was. At least she didn't duck out the way like it was a bomb coming towards her. She kept the hands up and tried to catch it.
You've known me long enough to know my complaint. The ball doesn't turn into a rock. It stays a ball.
She wore it on the hands and the head, and she's okay. In the ruck, Husband down towards Franklin, right, close to her. Right wins and then pops a hand pass away to Wrigley. Good shepherd as well from right. As she followed up, Wrigley's kick was touched. As a result, we'll see a boundary throw-in on the eastern side wing, rather than a free kick for being a kick out of bounds on the bounce. So the umpire comes in. There's a man at the top there. He's just gone inside. He was enjoying the footy on, what's that, level 6 in the apartments. Had the best view in the house, almost as good as ours. Through comes Smith, who hands it away to Orme, but her kick lacks any penetration.
$700,000 more than ours.
Yeah, true. Dowson taking the mark and then chipping to Wrigley. Our view turns into an office during the week. His remains his apartment. He's gone back out there. He's sitting on a stool. He's right at the top. His blue wind cheater. He's sitting right on the wing, perched above this kick. And it goes forward by Baxter. It's a half forward. Fist from Hamilton Smith brings it to ground. McDonald with the tackle. Little kick comes out from Hamilton Smith towards Dumanis. Dowson with a good spoil. Dumanis follow up excellent. The hand pass was clever. Gives Colvin a chance to set something up. Claremont work it nicely across half back. White standing underneath it takes a good mark. Kick coming from Arnott and now White loading up from half back. Carter's got 3 to beat here. She contests in the air, falls to Valentini. He uses a little snap kick across the body. Needs a good bounce. In fact, in the end, Anderson just missed it altogether. Franklin soccers off the deck. There's no one forward of the play here for Claremont, which allows Barnden just to slow things down. Hand it away to McKinley. Her kick untidy. Colvin blocked it with the body. Husband goes and fetches the footy. Just low, was driven into the ground, and the umpire didn't like that tackle at all from Phillips, and Lowe gets the free kick.
Aggressive intent. I think Peel set up well behind the ball at the moment, causing issues for Claremont's penetration of the forward 50. This ball skips past McKinley. And Germanis gets it, pulls it around the corner to Carter, takes it on the chest. No mark, not 15. Kick in, brings McKinley into the game. She's looking for a feed off, and she gets it with Wrigley. Wrigley goes pretty dangerously into the corridor. Bilsich can't do the job. Stepping inside and outside was Baxter, and that was nice. Can she get a connection ahead of field with Taja Griffiths? Roger Griffiths just volleys the ball in her pathway. Can't find the handle in the end. Sophie McDonald tries to run away with that. She meets Bilsich. They end up in a tangle on the ground. On the point of the square, that was a high tackle on Bilsich. McDonald does the right thing and gets out of there, doesn't take the blame. Gives it to Colvin, the young player. Running player backs to the kick's a good one from Bilsich. Peel's look to build to Roberts. It's going to go over the back. Hamilton Smith's got the pace. Roberts ends up tackling her. Bit of a raffle to who was going to get this football between Arnott, who did, and Orm, who now has it. Orm's dashed through the middle. Kick's got a bit too much on it. Well read down there by Barndon. She gets it towards Ella Roberts. Somewhat curbed her influence in the second quarter, although this one, at any moment, she can break away, and the kick's a good one to Bartlett, who takes to the chest. Great kick by Ella Roberts. Bartlett's flying shot. The goal umpire's not doing any work at all at his end. And he's going to wait for the all clear and signal one goal. Fantastic play at the Peel Football Club. Just weight of numbers, just thrusting and surging forward until they finally were able to break it open, and Ella Roberts laced out Kate Bartlett, who rolled inside 50 and kicked a major. First blood, although it took a long time and a lot of time in their forward half, a lot of time with the ball before they finally scored their
Nice
one.
footy from Peel. Good finish from Bartlett, but the work from Roberts up the field, excellent. Just shows when players go quick, just changes the whole tempo of the game.
It seems Peel are set up better behind the ball than they were. It's causing a bit of issue with Claremont, and then obviously their rebound is there. So I think Markham's really addressed the defensive setup. I think that's where they're going to. They got scored on a couple of times through defensive errors. I think the defence is well set up for Peel in the third quarter.
Fenton and Mann come into the middle with Bilsich for Peel. Fenton's here, hand passes away. A kick forward from Hayes towards half forward. Roberts demands front position. Just wrestled away in front of her opponent, taking the mark, kicking towards Bartlett. Good spoil from behind. Crumbing it is Griffiths. Snaps, gets around the Claremont player. Dashing back, Ortlip slaps it through for a rush behind. Unfortunate there for Taja Griffiths, but Ortlip, as she always is, just professional in defence. And just talking to Jamie Harkin during the week, who wanted a roll up here with us, but turned up today and there's only the two microphones. She is here today with Claire Ortlip watching as well, so I'm sure when Jamie goes back and watches the tape, she'll be wondering why she didn't get the call up. I can tell you, Jamie, there's only two headsets, so it's either me or Deg stepping out for you this time.
Which we'd happily do. McDonald. Nice to hear from Harkin. Flying was Goodwin Wissink. Recovering well was Davison for Peel. Sophie McDonald. Bit of aerial ping pong. The Western decides to run. She does so. Kick favours Gunton. Can she hold Franklin off the footy? She can. Little fumble though. Running through Gunton. This is what we like to see from the young player. In the end, that was a very interesting and agricultural, agrariate, any other word that starts with a kick, but it wasn't effective. Slipping in the attempt to kick was Smith. She gets collared. Someone is laying in the middle of her back. Now she's getting her head stepped on. All she wanted was the ball out of bounds. Griffiths gets taken off by that. I didn't see what happened there, Reg. You've had a better look at that. Aisha Wright, meanwhile, is going in deep. Kick favours Bartlett. Bartlett's at the back, and she takes this catch nicely. And as a right footer with terrific goal sense and technique, Bartlett would favour herself here. You didn't like what happened to Smith underneath it.
She was lying on the ground, and Jade Britton went to get up, and as she got up, she trod on Smith's back accidentally, right just above her hip. And obviously, as she's pushed away to run, it's just raked the boots down the side and the back of Ella Smith. And Jade turned around straight away and apologised, and then realised the footy was there and needed to chase it. So
Bartlett's deliberate approach just doesn't get quite enough close on this kick, or it does close, but it closes late, right to left for a point. No chance in the world that Jade Britton would intend anything like that, but it doesn't hurt any less because she mean it.
No, I reckon it might just rattle Jade for the next couple of minutes, perhaps, because it certainly wasn't intentional from her. Ella Smith copped a lot of treatment there that at some point it probably could have been a free kick, but not given. The kick back in.
I think in the fifth or sixth minute the lady was laying in her back, it might have been a little push.
It was a tangle of bodies, so someone was always going to end up a little bit sore after all of that. Good kick forward by the Tigers, but Davison first onto it. He'll just seem to be controlling play, but this kick gives Claremont a chance because it's been turned over and Valentini has it. Kicks back to all the traffic. Good mark from Orm. Bit of space inside 50. White is deep. Goodwin Wissink there as well. White comes back to make a contest. Can't take it. Somehow finds the football. Gets it out to Goodwin Wissink, who bundles along the ground. This will bounce and turn. It's a clever goal. Well played, Goodwin Wissink, and the Tigers have got one back just when it looked as though Peel were taking control of this game. Claremont with the goal, and Peel didn't make the most of their opportunities up forward again. And the Tigers lead again by 13 points.
Just looking at the scoreboard when that happened, before the ball had gone through, bang, the goal was added up there. So this is a Claremont scoreboard.
2 goals to Goodwin Wissink.
5 goals to 2. Clever kick. You'd have to say she meant that. She's been playing forward for a number of years now and is a thinking player. That kick defensively set up really well, Peel, but that kick just into the corridor was to only could have hit a Claremont player, and Orm was good enough to stick that catch overhead.
Played a lot with Amber's dad. That wasn't his forte. He used to hand them off to me to kick around there. That was my job after he'd done all the hard work getting me the ball.
Reputedly was a bull at the ball. His daughter is very strong over the football as well. Ball in the centre of the ground. Quave's been trying to tap this with 2 hands. Husband gets this tap away. Well, it's with Valentini. It was Lowe that got that forward. Weston, that's a throw. Umpire on the wrong side. Maddie Scanlon has a bounce after 3 steps. After being called for holding the ball earlier. This is a nice kick that really does favour Brooke White. And Brooke White doesn't need much of an advantage. 202 or 3 game player now in this competition and preceding competition, the WAFL. Amy Franklin chopping across and getting pressure. Here's Barnden. Amy Franklin decides to stay in play, and Barnden enjoyed that. Dowson leads the tackle from Brooke White and gets the ball to Nell Baxter. Nice build up again from Peel, just starting to control the ball, as you said before. Claremont scored against flow of play. Schilling casts it forward, can't quite get a pathway to this one. Laying on the ground behind the footy is Ella Roberts. I think it was Schilling that clipped her on the way through. Kira Phillips, that is 50, and it's an accidental, but cannot be in the vicinity, and Fortescue just about ran into the back of Kira Phillips.
Ella Roberts coming off as well. Her left hand is fairly limp. Hopefully she's okay after that tangle before.
Good attack on the football.
Might be a problem with her wrist.
Doesn't look fantastic. Kira Phillips well within range, resulting in 50. Fortescue just getting very close. Phillips, as she does at times with her set shots, just can't get her accuracy right though. The shape of her foot there and the kick was really nice as this ball finds Colvin and the rebound for Claremont.
In the shadows of the apartments, Haley Colvin picks off a step. It's a reasonable distance, but Wrigley's in front. It's a strong mark, and Peel will pump it back inside 50. 2 goals, 8 to Peel. 10 scoring shots to 7. They lead by 3 scoring shots. They trail by 2 goals. Wrigley just guides it inside 50, and Phillips is on the end of it. If she didn't mark it, Schilling would have. There's good movement up forward. Phillips doesn't want to waste any time, and this time she nails it. That's a good kick from Kira Phillips. You mentioned it earlier. Doesn't really like to stand there for too long and line them up. Gets it moving quickly this time, and Peel are back within a goal.
Well, it's wonderful learning from that set shot kick. And then she thought, no, I'm just going to pretend I'm on the run. Turned her body sideways and flicked it around the corner like a rugby union player. 6 points, which Peel desperately needed.
So a big finish coming up here. Peel have kicked a couple in this term, kicked a few more behinds as well. There's only a goal in it.
Look at this down below us. I don't think the camera's going to capture that, but Steve Markham, Nell Baxter, face-to-face, nose-to-nose on the line. Nell Baxter's run all the way to the line to have a chat. And
she was nodding and smiling and taking full
in the end, they were both pointing the same way, so they were in agreement, but fantastic interaction. I think Steve Markham might have been saying, I need you on the back of the square as a winger. She might be running in defensively, trying to mark that right foot kick or right foot surge from the Tigers. Quaife, 2 hands. Yes, we do. She wins this one. Elkington, young player, finds Nell Baxter's opponent, opposite winger in white. Kicks onto Valentini's head. She's got time to carry. Baxter, in the end, good pressure. Greta McKinley works her opponent off the footy. Germanis locks on. She eventually gets her kick away. No prior. The umpire would have been thinking about her holding the ball. This kick from Wrigley is touched by Bilsic. No, it's
good lasso.
Over the line. It was tight. It was tight. What I like about the lasso is the quarter squat that goes with it. It really does show the leg definition of our boundary umpires. Muscled up too. This is a miss kick, but it does find Arnett.
Well, they're all trying to emulate Greg Gilby, of course.
Well, yeah, powerful man, Greg Gilby, and elite runner and strong movements. This is an interesting kick from Arnett. It's gone from a position of attack to almost defence on the line here with Elkington. She gives it back to Valentini, who should be looking towards low at the top of 50. There are 3 Tigers left of her. She does go down the line to a 2v1. It's a 3v1 now. And on the chest is Jess Fenton.
That's why they didn't want to go forward before. They had all that area covered by Peel players. They need to go inside rather than outside. So
Valentini can kick it too.
Fenton's kick finds Baxter, who's playing that wing roll but pushing straight into defence. A short pass to McKinley. And that's how they're managing to engineer the extra player. Kira Phillips is back in defence all by herself now as well. So Peel might be happy just to hold on. They're within a goal. There's a minute or so to go before the three-quarter time siren. I might think that they can make a rush at it in the last quarter. Brooke White caught by a couple of Thunder players. Ball spills out. Jess Lowe drives the legs. Her hand pass was chopped off. It comes back to her. Kick was smothered by Roberts, who's back out there with some strapping on the wrist. It's come off a boot accidentally again. And she's run straight into a player and grabbed the wrist once more. So there's some real concern about her with her left wrist at the moment. She's a tough player. She's had it strapped.
Puts her hands up.
She still goes to the smother. And she's still charging after this football. Fenton gets it first. Gracie Fenton high up and under, all Claremont. And the mark has been taken there by Fortescue. Fortescue goes wide and Scanlon should mark. Church screamed at her as she was standing underneath the football. Couldn't put her off though. Peel have all their players set up 2 kicks from goal here. And this ball's going to go out of bounds on the full.
Which is why there's 7 Claremont players behind this ball, and it's why Peel can't penetrate, because they've got no representation for the footy. 15 seconds to go. You wouldn't think that Peel could score from here. The clock continues to run.
So it's Wrigley with the kick. She kicks in the Roberts direction. Wrist injury or no injury, she leaps and takes the mark. Takes that left hand off the footy pretty quickly though. And again checks it after taking this kick down the line. That's the end of the quarter. Another weak effort with the siren. They were better during halftime when they were giving the hurry-ups. Ella Roberts has got some concerns. She's coming towards the physio again, and she has a bit of a problem with the left wrist. But it is three-quarter time. Interesting quarter, that one. The Tigers kicked a goal, Peel kicked a couple, and we're set for the big final term. Just a goal, the difference between Claremont and Peel. If the Tigers win, they get to host the first semi-final next week against Subiaco. If they lose, they have to play that game at Leederville Oval. Meanwhile, we know Peel Thunder will play Swans at Bassendean next week in the second semi-final. But they would love to notch up another win and keep their form running into the finals next week. Tigers by a goal here on front row screens. We'll take a break. Huge final quarter left for us.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Rule 1. No internet searching.
New Optus Pause puts the Optus Living Network in your hands. It allows you to pause your Optus mobile and home Wi-Fi connections with one touch. Because sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
What can be broken but can't be held?
It starts with yes.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Inside the Claremont huddle at three-quarter time. Jack Shorts giving the instruction to the midfield here today. As he's just gesturing with the right hand, just saying, I like it over there if I can, and maybe down there, and
also
back over there again.
Just stepped out of my F14 Tomcat with my Ray-Bans on.
Looks like Maverick. Top Gun. He's ready to go, and the midfielders have done a pretty good job for Claremont. They lead by a goal, Claremont, 5-2, playing 3-8 at three-quarter time. There's Courtney Rowley and Jade Briggs just having a chat off screen.
Taking their stats down.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing much stats, to be honest.
Steve Markham really animated with his discussion with the group. He took the group first, and he was really imploring the players, as we can see some highlights on the screen. Now they've broken up into the huddles. Conversely, Claremont quite comfortable straight into their lines, and then they'll come to Andrew Di Loretto just before they go out. So Markham really geeing his players up. You can still see him down there. We can still see him down there really, really, really putting some energy into his group. So he wants these guys to give a good 16, 18 minutes of effort, a couple of snags.
Both teams pretty happy to play a player behind the ball. We saw Baxter come and pretty much stand almost at the half-back flank when she's supposed to be on the wing, and she immediately goes into defence. Her wing becomes the free player, and then that means that they can find, normally I think Dowson becomes the free player if possible in defence for Peel, and that obviously leaves Claremont with a spare as well, but it's happened for most of the day, so both coaches pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I guess another coach might just go man them up and sort of play six in front, but at the moment I think it's the defensive setups of both teams are really good. It's more about how they transition through the box.
There's Andrew Di Loretto, board up and just giving them final little instructions before the final quarter starts. They lead by a goal.
Became engaged to Subiaco's Rogers Cup coach, Pierre Folletti.
Be a lot of coaching talk at home, wouldn't there?
I reckon there might not be.
No, they do all the coaching and leave it out of the
It's
home.
like a couple of the girls that have had partners in other teams. One of the things is they don't talk about footy at home. Very professional.
There's Steve Markham, and now back inside the Claremont huddle as Willis Smith has recovered from the studs in the back or just above the hip.
See Emily Bennett there on your far right of screen. A good player. West Perth product, plays here at Claremont Footy Club off a half-back flank, so don't know why she's out today, but you'd imagine it wouldn't be on form. She's had a pretty good season.
She's off to the combine as well, and Bennett. It's a large group that was selected from WA, which is good to see.
There's a few spots available in WA. It looked to be a minimum of 6. It looks like it could be as many as 8, depending on recruitments in from East Coast. It's nice to see Jade Briggs down there with her teammate, such a wonderful young person and player. Watched her develop her confidence and ability over the last 4 years, and I'd be loving to see her play. Very disappointing that couldn't see her in her last year of 19s have the impact that she would have. Luck to her.
A very happy person, but it's been frustrating for her this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, you okay? She says, yep, I'm fine. You say you're not. She goes, no, I'm not. So we've got to be honest. It's okay not to be okay. Being denied the sport you've trained for a full season, it's a tough gig for any player in any game.
She's very popular with the rest of the 19 squad, and I think the day she came down to training to break the news was pretty heartbreaking for most of the girls, and pretty
staff.
tough for Jade as well. Yeah, as you say, the staff as well, who've spent a lot of time with her and got to know her very well as she's grown up. So she's on the sidelines chatting with Courtney Rowley, watching on at the moment, watching their side try to engineer a fight back here against Claremont as Bilsic gets the first kick of the quarter. Peel trailing by a goal. Scanlon liked her run today, a hand pass inside. Probably not the best of options. Fenton goes in and wins the footy and gives it straight back to Scanlon. Good kick off a step. A lot of distance on it. Dowson comes in from the side. Just treads her way through the traffic carefully. Puts it out in front of Britain.
She gave the impression she wanted to handball that to Franklin then.
Orme in the way. That's an interesting decision to kick into the corridor. Probably not what she'd like to be doing. Might want that one back. Davidson goes straight up the middle and Bartlett dives in and almost, I think she took that. Umpire says no, we'll play on, and Bartlett's going to argue her case with the umpire. She was sliding on her knees. And I reckon if you went to DRS, you might get the red light. I reckon the batter's out.
No bounce. Ruck work again, top of 50. Peels, surging forwards. Wrigley finds Bartlett. This time she does drop it. Picking her pocket now is Ortlett to McDonald. McDonald overcooks this one to Britton. Goes through her hands though. Second effort's fine. Bit of a tumble punt. This will be Scanlon. Players at the moment just playing in fast forward. Scanlon the beneficiary of a turnover. From the foot of a Peel player in Britton. She feeds it out the path of Arnett. Arnett kicks down the line. Dowson's tracking this one. Dowson would love to see this go out, and it does. Amber Goodwin-Wisink just for a moment decided she was going to keep it in, but in the end,
Dowson gave her a shove into the ball and she touched it because of the shove.
Just a little nick on it. I think both players happy with that. Dowson just gathering her wits as she tries to pick up Amber Goodwin-Wisink inside that forward 50. Meanwhile, players converge on the corner of the square, Claremont's end. Good throw in. Husband works to the front. No one there to receive the tap. Wrigley and Lowe arrived at the same time. Ball ricochets out somehow into Orme. Ella Roberts tracks her, and they both, I think in the end professionally, decide to run that over the line rather than have a wrestle into the fence.
To see Roberts back out there. She had a real problem with the wrist, left wrist, late in the third quarter. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on her to see what happens when there's a bit of body contact on that left side. She's a very tough player and doesn't shirk it in any way, so she'll put her body on the line, despite the fact there could be some pain. Fenton, nice spin, off to right. Normally uses the ball pretty well, decides to kick for distance, turning the defence around. Nicely done by Garstone opposed to Bartlett. Just held her up long enough for Ortlip to come and help out. Gives it off and gets it back and then delivers to Smith. And that Claremont defence has held up well today. Ella Smith, good to see her back out there as well. Had a bit of an injury problem in the third quarter. This one rebounds off the shins of Carter. Britton taken high there front on, and that'll be a free kick. Good umpiring. Jade Britton in the purple boots today has the free kick. Captain of the state 19s this year. Sends this one high towards half forward. McDonald in good position in front, couldn't take it. And then a wrestle develops between Paige Hamilton-Smith and Chloe Wrigley. And the umpire decides to ball it up. We're at left half forward for Peel. Roberts signalling that she's going to do the ruck work opposed to Husband. Roberts wins and then follows up. Fenton can't quite collect the football. Scanlon now tackled, loses it in the tackle. Orme's kick gains 2 metres. Hamilton-Smith loses the football under pressure. Roberts tries to step back inside and she's dumped in a strong tackle. That'll be holding the ball. Nicely done for Claremont by Fortescue. She'll have the free kick at half back.
Nice pick up for Claremont, Fortescue. I think we're seeing just the issue with the player behind the ball for Peel means they're outnumbered in front of the ball. At this stage, Kate Bartlett a couple of times been asked to do some work against a number of players. As Anderson tracking the ball back, feeding it over her shoulder to Bill Sitch. Bill Sitch drives down the line, no representation from Peel. Marks taken by Smith.
So at some point when you're a goal down, that has to change, doesn't it? You can't just keep kicking it back to an outnumber all the time.
Well, if you do want to set up a player behind the ball, you have to have that player work hard to get even numbers in front. That might be a handover with a midfielder. Big concept late in the game, asking the players to do that's very hard work. This ball's in the path of Franklin. She looks to be content to get that over the line, or looks to be her intent to get over the line, but in the end she keeps that in with the help of some Peel players. She goes down the line and Carter gets it on the chest. She's rolled instantly, has a bounce. She's going to cross the 50. In ahead of her is a Peel player dropping back the most. So this is, although the Peel player falls over and leaves the door open for good Wissing. Well, they were even numbers in front of the ball, Peel. The player slipped, caused Dowson just to lower her vision, and she lost the ball. Good Wissing didn't. This kick will be a very handy one if Good and Wissing can convert. It's paddling back into that mud, lost her footing, and attracted the player that was, and Good and Wissing meanwhile, the left footer, should suit her the angle. She doesn't like too much of it. The old Mario Kart bend, can't quite make the corner, and you're in the rails.
I thought Claremont were probably playing into Peel's hands there. All their players leaning back to the goal square where all the Thunder defenders were. Just needed someone to hit up, but when someone slips over, that always helps. Dowson to do the kicking in. She steps into the square and immediately steps out and then chips to McKinley. And just watching players now. Bund straight away goes back into that goalkeeper role. So again, a player behind the ball. As Arnott takes the intercept mark here for Claremont. Carter leads back to the goal square. Good and Wissing comes up to the footy. Both are ignored. Arnott then kicks somewhere in between that and it works nicely. Brooke White takes the mark. It didn't spin at all off the boot. It just floated and wobbled. And Brooke White has taken the mark and she's a long kick. She's already kicked a goal from this sort of range, albeit with the goal square open earlier in the game. And this time she's going to at least chew up 30 seconds.
This distance will test her late in the game.
I wonder if she's clever enough to try to sneak around the player on the mark. There's a bit of space for her to work if she can. It's a long, slow, deliberate approach. Sinks the boot into it. Doesn't make the distance. It's off hands. About 5 people claiming the mark there, and it's going to be a rugby maul as Peel are just happy to run a player, Good and Wissing, and the footy over the line.
I think Kira Phelps dragged the pack over the line there.
Rush behind.
Stealing Mortlock. Chippy Dowson exiting for Peel. It's a 2v1. The Claremont player in Smith is well set. Trying to beat her. She ends up beating Britton for the ball. The ball ends okay. Chopping it off was Barn, and it was tackled in the end while she was in the air. No free kick. Sophie McDonald set up well behind the ball. Roberts is trying to work her way to her. Bit of pressure on the kick. Peel of the numbers back here, but Brooke White is able to take the mark in a nest of 3 Peel players. No body contact and no one spoiling.
What is the collective noun for thunder? Is it a storm of thunder? It can't be a nest.
Did I say nest?
Is it nest? But
Did I say nest?
I'm not picking out your error, but
a storm.
It's got to be a storm of thunder, doesn't it?
Storm of thunder. I don't mind that. Maybe it'll catch on just fine. Look, White, this is much more her distance, and you'd suggest that the ball drop is good here. This is a goal at half post height. Ball's away, and it's exactly that. It's straight through the middle at half post height. Brooke White have made this very difficult for the Thunder. 6-4 the Tigers, 40, 3-8, 26. Peel. Scoring shots remain very close. The goals scored is the differential in this game so far.
2 goals to Brooke White now as well. And the Talls for Claremont have done a really good job. Goodwin Wissink a couple of goals, White a couple of goals. Franklin getting involved in the game as well. We've seen a few Claremont games this year where we've been wondering how to get the best out of Amy Franklin, because she just hasn't seemed to get involved in the game as much as she would like and we would like, and I'm sure Claremont would like, but today she has.
High half forward. She's played that role for a couple of weeks. Very comfortable with that role. I was chatting to her 2 weeks ago. She said, yep, getting to run around a little bit, it's a lot more fun and get a lot more ball. Her kick's so good too in terms of inside 50.
14 points is Claremont's lead. We're at the midway point of this term, so Peel need to get themselves moving. And Davidson tries to do that, although the kick goes sideways. Bella Mann trying to barge her way through, does nicely, but then can only get her toe to the ball. And then Smith in the way there for Claremont, happy to hold things up. Well, the umpire spotted a free kick here. Player lying on top of the football will be penalised. That was Nell Baxter. And Elkington will get the free kick for Claremont. No one stands the mark, so Elkington can run on. Angles a kick in the Valentini direction, who leaps and judged that beautifully. Used the body to protect the drop zone. To a very nice chest mark. Now just steers the kick down the line to Colvin. Arriving late, Bella Mann makes a good spoil and then bumps Colvin. Colvin fights on well despite being outsized. In comes some support through Caitlin Hayes. Gains ground with the kick. Helen Smith in the way. Sends a kick towards Husband. Bilsich flying through the air, couldn't take the mark. Colvin overruns it. Roberts, she doesn't overrun too much. Gets good distance with her kick. Good tackle applied by Beth Schilling. Wrapped up her opponent and then carefully took her to ground without dumping the head into the turf. We'll see a ball up. Claremont up by 14.
McDonald, Quaife. McDonald used her body well. Quaife down to Schilling. Schilling's kick to a 2v1. Bartlett being held on to. Also being held on to down there was the Claremont defender, and we'll get another ball up. Just a rolling ball a little at the moment. Only Peel being able to move the ball quickly. Sorry, only Claremont being able to move quickly at different times. Schilling very good early in terms of a contested ball. Move forward, trying to have an impact there. This is Wrigley off Phillips' hands. Not real foot on that one. Lowe's first the ball. Cassie Davison puts a lot of pressure on her. Warriors are off it eventually. Ella Roberts, usually good in this situation. Wrigley steps inside but leaves a footy behind. Good strip from Orme. Mika Carter, hard to catch her. One player can, and it's Ella Roberts. And it's a wonderful tackle, and it's rewarded, probably unfairly, because I'm not sure Mika Carter had any prior whatsoever. All she had was intent. Good run-down tackle, Ella Roberts. Kicks a good one too. Bartlett has to take mark of the year to score here. Ball's in the hands of Baxter. She's doing some pressure work behind the ball for Peel. These goals are all too hard for Peel at the moment. A lot of effort and a lot of energy spent just to get the ball to 450.
Bartlett sore after the pack collapsed on her. She's holding her right hand at the moment. She's a player that Peel won't want to lose just before the finals. Phillips in the ruck. She's given away. No, she'll get the free kick. I'm always confused by these ruck infringements.
Well, the ball was her focus there.
Yep.
Maybe the opposition ruckman's wasn't.
So Phillips from right on her distance. We've seen her better as she swings around. This will go all the way to the goal line, and that's a fine mark. Last line of defence. Who else but Ortlip to take that one? And she just says, move back, Beth. You've got to go back to the 9. And while she's doing that, she dashes off, sells a bit of candy as well, and then chips the pass out. Nicely done by Ortlip. I'm not sure you want to see that sort of dash from your Dower reliable defenders, do you, Degs?
No, that's lovely. She's such a good player. I wouldn't call her Dower. I think she's Dower when she needs to be.
Dower's harsh.
Dower when she needs to be, but creative when she can be. And often creative by foot. This is low, resulting from that dash from Ortlip. Jamie Harkin, big fan of us talking about both the Ortlips. He favours the one that plays at her club. I think she's got a lot of love for the sister as well. This ball's handball beautifully across or between Tigers players before the line has been driven. First to arrive here is Bill Sitch. And the ball is bundled over the line for a ball in.
Our friend's still up there on level 6 in the apartments across the road, sitting on the wing.
Is that his shadow I can see, or is that a friend?
No, it's the shadow. It's the reflection on the glass.
I was going to say, because one of them's facing the game, one of them's not. So it's probably a reflection. Moving on, Sophie McDonald, good fist down. First there is Smith. She's immediately set upon. We have another one.
So the Tigers will be back here again. There's going to be a blood rule here, though. There's a player is being assisted off, Tanisha Anderson, with blood coming from her nose. Not sure what contest that came from, but she's coming across the field. You can see her there on camera now. The Tigers look as though they'll be back here next week to take on Subiaco in the first semi-final. Peel will travel to Bassendean to take on Swans in the second semi. Tigers and Subi will be a knockout game. That looms as a fantastic contest. They've had some very close clashes this year. And Subi have improved throughout the season.
Which game front row screens get? Which one did Elliott give to us?
Yeah.
Because Peel now have taken more scoring shots here than Tigers. Tigers have a healthy lead.
Ball up at half forward. Quaife with a big fist forward. Smith diving in on top of the footy for Claremont. Don't think that's coming out. And the umpire will ball it up again. Home ground advantage in Waffle women's footy. Does it count for much? Claremont will have it next week against Subi.
I think psychologically you can make it work for you.
Tigers have got a reasonable record here, but Subi don't seem too scared of anyone anywhere, really, particularly the way they're playing at the moment. We'll see another ball up here at the front edge of the centre square.
I think Subiaco match up well against Claremont and have over the last, or for the entirety of the WAFLW's existence. Claremont going really well. Subiaco maybe towards the bottom. Subiaco always had their measure. Should be an enthralling match next week. I like this ground too. This is a little very close to my house and easy to get to.
Bassendean's not too far away.
Bassendean's pretty good too. Just harder to park at Bazzo if you get there as close to bounce down as I did today. Schilling in the ruck now. Why not? Gets this handball back beautifully to Britton, who's played her wing well. Hasn't always gone through her side. Roberts has a bounce off the ball. And Elle Baxter doing a ton of work, just trying to create something, and she eventually does. Ellen Roberts gets this to Griffiths. Garstone has walked 3 steps over this mark. Very clever defender. Griffiths kicks long and high. It's a 3v2. In the middle there was Bartlett. Lurking was right. She's immediately tackled, which is lucky for Claremont, because if she gets herself out...
She's hurt as well. Nice, you're right. Might have hurt her shoulder.
She looks in great distress too. This is a very tough kid. Doubt she'd be running off the ground if there wasn't an issue. Well, Roberts, interesting to see. She came back on, went off the ground with a wrist, came back with no strapping. Must have been a stinger. Wrigley finds a hole. Done that a few times today. Over kicks it. Doesn't suit Church. Sophie McDonald's been good today. One of her better WAFLW game. That tackle's good from Baxter. Gets underneath Garstone's arm and forced to drop. She's played on from in front of the ball and kicked the goal. Maybe, just maybe, we can see the Peel Thunder sneak ever closer. Still need 2 kicks, 3 minutes. It's a long time. No time on when a goal is scored in WAFLW. But that was great play. Now, Baxter, some complaints from the Claremont Tigers saying, are you allowed to play on?
Oh, she took her own advantage, didn't she?
Well, you're allowed to do that. It's only a mark you can't do that from.
How clever with the tackle. Just missed the tackle there on the replay, but she got under the hand that was looking to hand pass the football. So the player ended up punching her back as she tried to hand pass the football. And
wonderful technique. Not much you can do when someone's under your armpit like that.
Superb tackle. So it's game on. There's 2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining on the clock and 2 straight kicks required from Peel from here to win it. So they'll need the centre clearance pretty quickly and then need to repeat it again. Beth Schilling doing the ruck work. Great leap. Wins it down with 2 hands, but low. Her work in the centre bounce today has been outstanding. Off the ball, there's a free kick. It's coming back.
Ella Smith was acting innocent, so I didn't touch her. I was sorry, and I reckon that drew the umpire's eye.
And a Church takes it. Quick kick forward. Wrigley trying to spoil Weston. That's a good mark. Michaela Weston, we've seen her put the speed on at different times today, but that was probably as important as anything she's done this afternoon, standing under pressure to take the mark. Kicks towards White. She can't hang on. Quick hands for Peel. They get it to Roberts. Hurried kick forward, and McDonald in the way. As you mentioned, Deggs, probably the best game we've seen her play this year, which is good to see. Getting herself back to some good form.
See Taja Griffiths, the things that attracted State Academy's eye was quick hands there. Very clean and quick hands.
Good kick for distance from McDonald. Valentini's tackle without the football, and she'll get the free kick just as Fenton. That'll be 50. Fenton's running away with the football. Gracie thought it was her kick, but it wasn't. There was only one free kick it could have been, and as a result, Valentini will go from the wing to half forward to take this one.
Scanlon should not be in a hurry here.
Correct. You're just happy to let the clock run. About 80 seconds to go. It's a good 50 as well. Part of the mark goes to about 40 metres out.
There was no way that was ever going to be a Peel ball.
No. Probably wasn't Gracie's smartest moment today. And Valentini's happy to take the full 30 seconds as the Peel coaches box start to pack up next to us.
Having said that, if it was Peel's ball, fast ball movement, and with right at a minute to get that goal they needed.
Valentini decides to use the full 30. Franklin leaps in the goal square, can't take it. Clearing kick coming out of defence. It might come straight back. Smith has the mark for Claremont.
Ella Smith plays on, finds Orm on the far side. She's played a very wide role, and she puts her hand up. She's got 30 seconds she's allowed to take, and there's 40 seconds left in the game. We'll see if the umpire gives her the full 30. You tend to get more time in the first quarter than you do in the last. And she has gone back like a tennis lily. Ball under her arm. It's going to take her 12 seconds to get in from where she's walked back to.
Now you only have to start your run-up within
that 30.
So can you abort your run-up after that 30?
Oh, I'll probably call play on, I imagine. She's going to play on ahead of her 30-second allotment anyway. This is a good, long, deep kick, and a point or out of bounds will do. That's the game for Claremont. Big win in the last round.
The reserves girls, you can hear them downstairs. They're pretty excited. They know that their league team's coming back here next week to take on Subiaco. Great win for Claremont.
That's not the siren that you wanted to end this good game of footy.
It's their home ground. You should be revving that siren up.
Little cat meows.
6-5-41 the Tigers. They have got the team song blaring out though. That's good to hear. Tigerland always a good song. 9 points the win for Claremont. Oh, they pulled the song already. Oh, no, it's back again. Someone's messing around with the volume up there. So where's Moran's not happy? He's just turned to the timekeepers and said what's going on. But good win for Claremont, 6-4 to 4-9, the final scoreline. They were tested by Peel as you'd expect, but they've come through. We mentioned a couple of times in the call, they'd only won one match of their last 6, and that was against South Fremantle. So wins against South Fremantle are pretty much penciled in before the game starts, unfortunately, at the moment. But for the rest of the competition, Claremont have been the team that they can all beat in the last month and a bit. But today, Claremont have turned it around, and with a week to go before finals, Dex, not a better time to turn your form around.
I reckon there's 4 teams that can win it.
I think you're
I really
right.
do.
I think you're right. I think we've got a very good final series coming up.
Unfortunately, a good team's going to go out. Now, Claremont hasn't been the form team, as you said. Lost 5 of the last 6, of course, now won 2 of the last 7. But with this team they've got in, bolstered, bit of confidence, bit of run. They've got both Bennetts out today, so they can bring some good players in. Why they'd need to change the side, I'm not sure. They played really well today, but they can potentially get stronger or more experienced. And a sneaky win over Subiaco, who's playing terrific footy in the last couple of rounds. And they've got the team that can win. Of course, Swan's in the box seat. It's theirs, considered earlier theirs to lose, but the season's sort of evened up as it's got longer. And as the Swans, as the AFLW players have come back, some teams have got stronger, and I reckon that's what we're looking at with the top 4.
And not a lot to worry about from Peel today. They'll probably get a couple of players back as well. And you can see on the scoreboard there, 4 goals 9 tells a bit of a story that had they kicked a little straighter, particularly in the first quarter when they kicked 1 goal 4, then they may well have put enough doubts in Claremont's head early in the game to make sure that they could put the Tigers away. So
I get to talk to Steve Markham at different times, and he laments those early dominance that doesn't translate onto the scoreboard, like every coach of every sport in the world. But he acknowledges that an inaccurate kicking makes the game harder, and of course you're working for a position of great pressure. As we see the ladies, you're under pressure when you've got to keep coming back all the time. Whistles seem not to go your way as you try to storm your way back in. Spend a lot of time with the ball in your possession, and the opposition go coast to coast and score against you. And just very heartbreaking. It's a hard way to play football. It's the hardest way to play football.
Steve Markin's having a chat with Trent Cooper, just off screen at the moment.
Let's get some tips.
What's he got in the backpack, Trent Cooper? He's always got a backpack. Doesn't have a pen, apparently. Well, sometimes he does. Seems to borrow them off us.
There'd have to be a laptop, a snack. I think there's a snack in there.
Yeah.
A big fan of the red lollies, particularly the Allens. It's got to be red.
Oh, right.
Doesn't mind.
Like a red frog? Or?
Yeah, loves it. It's got red frogs and raspberries.
Yeah.
A bit of lips in there. I've shared a room back when we didn't have enough money for our coach to have their own bedroom. It was unfortunate for him, great for me. to be forced to share his room and his lollies.
Now, for Claremont today, a win against Peel, obviously we say it brings them home ground advantage next week, but there's a potential match-up here in the preliminary final or the grand final between these two teams as well, and it means Claremont have beaten Peel twice out of 3 contests this year, so that will give them a bit of a boost as well with the final still to come. So obviously Swans lost that game to Peel last week, was it? I think it was last week. So that was their first defeat of the year. So Peel have beaten Swans. Subi have beaten Claremont recently. Claremont have beaten Peel. So as you've mentioned already, we are set up for a fantastic final series. Probably the most evenly matched top 4 we've had in the 3 years of WAFLW.
Oh, absolutely. Particularly with the form of the 4th spot team. You'd have to talk about the form of the team in 3rd spot. It's probably greater than it's been. Last year, number 4, the 4th one straight out without really firing a shot. And the surprise sort of was the developing, the excellent footy that Peel was able to play in that last round through to the grand final. And Subi, who was irresistible last year, wasn't quite able to do the job on grand final day. Probably still feeling a bit of that disappointment. And I imagine that's fueling the last couple of games of them all. Maybe they've clicked with Michael Farmer's game plan, or maybe they've got enough good players back in form that they can have a crack at the flag. Kylie Wrigley has been chaired off underneath us. We're looking at the Claremont huddle. The Claremont are turning to clap them. I don't know what that means for Wriggles. Whether that's 50 games or 100 games, or she's retired.
Can't be retiring just before the finals. She's got a big smile on her face. So.
Not when she's the fittest she's ever been and in the best form she's ever been, and 22 maybe.
Now we're expecting a big Claremont rendition of their team song here in a moment. They've just gone to celebrate with a few of their fans. And
there's another dog being involved in this circle. You see that little pup being carried there by Hamilton Smith. They're going to sing it in the rooms, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks as though they're heading into the rooms. We normally get the song here on front row screens before the end of the day, but they're into the rooms, Claremont, and they will celebrate away from the cameras.
Well, they're taking the Little League half-time team in with them, the Wembley Club, going into the rooms with them. That's a nice treat for them. You can see a couple of AFLW stars trailing in behind. Fremantle's Jasmine Stewart heading in there with...
Does she come back for finals, or is she done? Has she played enough games now?
I'm not sure where she's at, but I'd imagine with her load, AFLW load this year and perceived load for her in season 2022, I could imagine that she's on ice. I'd love to have her back. I imagine they're calling Fremantle daily.
Yep, they'd be asking the question. There'd be a few players like that, I'm sure, at the moment. But a good win for Claremont as we look at some of the highlights. A couple of goals to Brooke White and to Amber Goodwin-Wissink for Claremont. Mika Carter kicked the goal, and so did Tessa DeManis. While for Peel, their goals came through Roberts, Bartlett, Phillips and Baxter. So probably one of the quietest games for Bartlett this year. Just one goal and not a whole lot of shots. We just saw one that she missed, but she was kept pretty quiet in that Claremont defence.
Playing one behind the ball meant that she was 2v1 with Phillips playing a little higher. Bartlett was trapped with 2 opponents at different times. A couple of times she was able to use her speed to break away with the long ball in. But most of the time, particularly the last half, she was camped under it with 2 people pretty much in her jumper.
Yeah, that's the way that both teams played today. Well, certainly Peel happy to have one behind the ball, and Claremont probably the extra midfielder the way it worked for a lot of the day, and it suited Claremont more often than not, but Peel missed a few opportunities as well. They certainly left a few goals out there this afternoon, but in the end Claremont taking the points. 9 points was the final margin for the Tigers, and as you say, final start next week. They will host Subiaco here at Revo Fitness Stadium, while Swan Districts will take on Peel down at Steel Blue in the second semi-final. The winner of that game goes straight through to the grand final. And of course, the winner of the first semi-final gets to move on to the prelim. The loser is out. We're talking about Claire Ortlip and Jamie Harkin. They're out there having a kick of the footy at the moment. So
actually kicking it with Ella too. She was up in the commentary box a couple of weeks ago. Ella Riley, Chloe Riley's sister, captain of the East Fremantle Rogers Cup team, having a kick with a couple of superstars from other clubs.
Always lots of people here watching the footy from other clubs, isn't it? It's the way that WAFL Women's has been done for a long time.
Play a lot of association footy together. So even today, like 2015-16, saw Kate Bartlett play in the team with the Ortlop twins. So there's lots of long histories between these players playing some rep footy together, under 15s. Schoolgirls, then now state 17s and state 18s, 19s this year, and the 18s usually. So most of these girls at league level have played rep footy together.
Might be time for us to check out from Claremont Oval here today. The Tigers are the winners. Great work again, Degs. We'll catch you through the finals, I'm sure. And we'll catch these two teams in the finals. Claremont and Subi next week in the first semi-final. Swans and Peel in the second semi-final. Tigers winners today over Peel Thunder by 9 points.
This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.